has always been a show that builds its characters and setting in an organic and powerful way. On more than one occasion, we see the writers plant seeds that come to bear fruit at a later point. For example, episode 7 mentions someone named Mouse, and then we meet her 3 episodes later. ReBoot also has terrific villains that are powerful, have clear motives, and are compelling characters in their own right. Well, that's most ReBoot episodes. Maybe this is the exception that proves the rule?
I seek the Codemaster, Talon.
There is no one in Mainframe with that name.
Talon the Dispatcher, High Talon of the 7th Brotherhood. Come now.
High Code was written by Martin Boricki, with story by Gavin Blair, Phil Mitchell, Ian Pearson, and Lane Richard. The main cast includes Michael Benier as Bob, Kathleen Barr as Dot, Matthew Sinclair as Enzo, Tony J as Megabyte, Michael Donovan as Fawn, Lon John Baldry as Old Man Pearson, and Don Brown as Lens. On a very minor note, this is the final episode to feature the original intro sequence. Next episode, the clips in the intro are updated, although the narration remains the same. Anyways, the episode begins a few minutes before where I showed you, with our strange lizard-like being landing on top of the principal office before jumping off and disappearing into a portal. Okay. Bob and Dot, meanwhile, are at Bob's apartment, and we see Bob working on his car, which infamously never works properly. Dot tells him that he should take it into a shop, and Bob refuses, saying it's tradition to fix one's own vehicle. This is a pointless scene, but that line about tradition gets repeated a few times. Back to the scene I showed you. Fawn tries to flee the room, but our guest is too fast for him, and eventually uses his staff weapon to freeze Fawn in a force field. By the way, his name is Lens. He doesn't reveal this name until the end of the tale, but I don't want to have to keep calling him Lizard Guy. In the next scene, Enzo and Frisket are at Pearson's dump.
Trespassing and theft are serious crimes, lad.
But we were only looking for...
Oh, just look at this mess. You could have broke something. Or hurt yourself.
We'll clean it up. Honest.
Attention! Attention all citizens of Mainframe. Listen well to my words.
Are you okay? You look like you swallowed a virus.
Citizens of Mainframe, among you resides a Codemaster by the name of Talon.
There's another thing I should mention when Len starts warping around like he's playing Portal on easy mode. Bob has a sixth sense feeling. Glitch doesn't tell about the guy. He just stops during his conversation with Dot and says he can feel something. Honestly, that seems like a perfect ability for a Guardian. But why has this never come up before? And it's never mentioned again, either. That is sadly a running theme here. There's a lot that never gets mentioned again. Lens, using a few vid windows, threatens Mainframe unless Talon comes forward. A few police binomes arrive on the scene, but they're clueless as to what to do until Bob arrives. Lens immediately identifies Bob as a Guardian.
And you're a Codemaster? From the web?
No, you are fortunate. I am from the net. But if you truly wish to guard your friends, then you will bring Talon to me.
There is no Talon in Mainframe. Hey! Ah!
Lens takes Bob for a ride, tossing him around at will, though Bob uses Glitch to get himself out of a fatal fall. When Bob tries to retaliate, Lens places a force field around Bob's key tool, rendering it inoperable. Lens then declares that he will tear Mainframe apart until he finds this Talon person. We still don't know why he wants to find him, but there is little our heroes can do except try to evacuate the area where he is attacking. Desperate for backup, Dot calls Megabyte for help. Wait, what?
This is strictly business, Megabyte.
Oh, really? Oh, do tell. A partnership, perhaps?
Hardly. I need to rent some transport. Now!
I do apologize, but this is not a taxi service, especially under present circumstances.
But...
Please, don't ask for any personal favors. Codemasters and viruses have a rather, how shall I put this, unpleasant history. Good luck. You'll need it.
There's a lot of questions here. I'm going to start by saying, wait, what? Dot has Megabyte on speed dial? Really? She opens a phone pad and calls him. Okay. We all watched the same series, right? This is Megabyte we're talking about. This guy almost annihilated all of Mainframe in the previous narrative. Megabyte also alludes to interesting lore between viruses and Codemasters. But, you guessed it, this is never mentioned again. That's like the third scene that's literally gone nowhere. In the next scene, Enzo, Bob, and Fawn are in the medical room in the principal office, analysing the field around Glitch. Fawn surmises that only a Codemaster can actually remove what Fawn calls a time lock. Enzo announces they're all doomed without Glitch, to which Bob calls out a mildly hurt, "Thanks a lot." This was a very natural and interesting conversation. Bob presses Fawn for information, and he takes Bob to the read-only room, leaving Enzo alone. Fawn explains to Bob that Codemasters are basically assassins who delete anyone if the price is right. Bob mentions he studied them in the Guardian Academy. Now, that does get mentioned again, but this wasn't the first time it's been said, so it doesn't count.
Long before your arrival, he came to Mainframe, seeking refuge.
You harbored a Codemaster?
He changed his identity and has since lived here in peace among us.
So who is he?
Oh, I cannot tell you, young Bob. I have taken an oath of secrecy.
I've got to think of something. Some way to disarm the stranger.
His weapon, the Gibson coil pike, is deadly.
The pike! Of course! How basic can you get?
Having seen a coil and some other mysterious stuff at the dump, Enzo immediately puts it together that Pearson is Codemaster Talon. Okay, I don't hate the idea, but the proof will be in the pudding. Enzo, of course, confronts Pearson with this discovery. Pearson denies it at first, but eventually admits to it being the truth, but says he refuses to fight or take another life ever again. Enzo rags on him really hard, saying that Talon is literally the only one who can stop Lens, but he simply tells Enzo no. Enzo flies away, dejected. Meanwhile, Lens continues ravaging buildings looking for Talon, until Bob flies in on what is effectively a cargo mover vessel. Lens overpowers the vehicle almost instantly and tells Bob he'll be deleting him now. However, what should arrive but the first GameCube of Season 2? Bob tricks Lens into entering the game with him by promising him power.
I don't get it. Why take the stranger into the game?
By helping the user win, Bob will nullify the stranger.
Nullify the stranger? But that means... Oh, Bob!
The game turns out to be a Wild West-themed runaway train. The duo discover that not only is Glitch still time-locked, but Lens's Gibson coil pike has no effect either. The train comes rumbling past them, and we get a glimpse of the user sitting on top of one of the train cars. The user is still quite blocky here, and is most likely a carryover from an earlier episode. I have to admit that the game here is rather bare bones and uninspired, but there's still some cool moments, like this one.
What is the objective of this game?
To beat the user to the next station!
Then just stay out of my way.
Huh?
Lens overpowers the user, but Bob rescues the user before he can be tossed from the train. While Lens and Bob bicker, the user pulls the connecting pin between the engine and the rest of the cars and gets away. Only then does Bob reveal that losing the game was his objective, to destroy Lens. The Codemaster is flabbergasted that he would sacrifice his life for others. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, Bob's noble sacrifice plan is foiled by the fact that Enzo is on the engine and has been kidnapped by the user. Bob gets a lasso from the nether. Indiana Jones swings over to the engine from across a huge valley and beats the user by pulling off his necktie, making this officially the laziest game I've ever seen. Thank God this next scene is cool.
Old Man Pearson is Codemaster Talon?
That's what I entered the game to tell you. This is it then.
Are you Codemaster Talon?
I am the one you seek.
I, Lens the Clear Unfolding, Lens the Reaper, High Lens of the 62nd Brotherhood, hereby do challenge you, Brother Talon, to high spar.
I really love that teleport effect. But what on earth is Lens saying? I legitimately thought he was saying I spy when I was a kid. It still sounds like that. High spy? High spar? Who knows? We never find out, because what is Pearson's reaction to this tense and really cool scene? The potential to redeem a messy story with an excellent fight? He breaks his pike over his knee and tosses it away. Lens doesn't accept this and doubles in size and prepares to simply step on Pearson. But Bob, Dot, and Enzo jump in to guard him. For some reason, this moves Lens emotionally, and he decides to just remove the time lock on Glitch and leave with a cordial bow. Okay, bye. I'm not angry, High Code. Just very disappointed. They throw so many references and hints into this tale, and, spoiler for the future, none of them matter in the slightest. How utterly disappointing. This could have meant something. Pearson could have been a really cool character. This could have been an amazing hook for something down the road. But it's not. It's just a bunch of threads that go nowhere. But Hattie, you're thinking to yourself, you're basing this on future plots instead of its own merits. Okay, well, first of all, I can do whatever I want. It's my review show. But secondly, I don't need to gaze forward to see how sloppy this tale is. There's just so much dead space where either nothing is happening or what happens plays no bearing on anything that follows. The conversation with Megabyte being the biggest offender. There's so much amazing potential here. The dialogue is still fantastic, and there are some visuals, like Lens himself, that are very impressive and just plain cool. But that potential just never comes to anything meaningful. With a few great moments, but no clear track to ride on, I give this tale 1 out of 3 fedoras.